All right, so the next fight is Nate Diaz versus Leon Edwards, and this is one I was very much looking forward to. It's easy to count Nate out. First of all, we all love Nate. Nate is just an OG of the sport. You can't not love. I mean, look at the stadium. Nate just walks in and the place goes crazy. Everything he does, he's just an icon of the sport. So, you can't not kind of root for Nate, especially against a guy like Leon Edwards, who, he's great. He's technical. He's one of the best in the division. He's proved that over and over again, but he hasn't done the things that Nate has to win over the love of the masses yet. And so it's not nothing against his technical side. It's not nothing against his fighting accolades. It's just the fact that he's fighting a guy that is just going to be a popular fighter no matter what happens. And, the fight was about what I assumed it would be in those first few rounds. Nate was playing games, and, Leon did a great job of taking the center. The first, I think, 3 rounds, he got a takedown every time. I think the 4th round, he got 2 takedowns. But he did a very good job of taking the center, being very composed. Nate was tricking him up. Nate was actually doing a fantastic job of doing his antics. Usually when fighters do antics and turn their back and do crazy things, it's not a good sign. It's a sign of them being frustrated or trying to, show off, just to get the attention away from them getting beat or getting outstruck or losing the fight. With Nate, he does a great job of using those things to try to get people off their game. And I think when you're fighting a very superior athlete, maybe not like crazy superior from Nate, but definitely superior in his technique and his speed, his power, you have to do things to get him off his game. You don't want to fight that guy head-to-head, point for point, and try to beat him. You got to try to do things. And I think Nate did a fantastic job of trying to do everything he could to mix it up. But unfortunately, he was just getting the rough end of it the entire time. The first 4 rounds especially. He got a takedown. He lost a takedown every round. I think the 4th round he lost 2. He was taking big shots. The kicks were adding up. Leon was doing a great job of throwing kicks. Nate was doing some stuff too, and Nate was landing. Nate was finding some homes. Nate was finding a home for some of his punches and some of his strikes too. So hats off to him for that. But you can just see the difference in speed and technique when you look at someone like Leon versus someone like Nate. And then we get into round 4. I think Leon started out pretty strong. Took the center again. In my opinion, it's going to be another round just like the rest. It's going to be a clean sweep for Leon Edwards. And boom, like crazy excitement happens. Nate lands just a solid punch right on top of Leon's jaw, rocks him, stumbles him. It looks like he was almost out on the feet. Then Nate made the biggest mistake in history. Nate went back to playing games. He pointed at him, which killed about 10, 15 seconds. Then he stalked him down without punching, but just kind of stalking him, waiting for that big punch for another like 15 or 20 seconds. And he had then about like 30, 45 seconds to finish the fight. I think he could have finished the fight and became just even more of a legend. He didn't finish the fight, and Leon won, and of course the crowd went crazy. And this is just another example of Nate Diaz. When he comes up short and loses a fight, he becomes a bigger star. He can't not become a bigger star every fight. He looked like a zombie in the 4th round, just covered in blood. Like didn't faze him at all. Blood all over the place. Just a complete zombie fighting Leon Edwards. And then he comes through and almost knocks him out. I was just, that side of me that's a Nate Diaz fan really wanted to see him have that killer instinct and go in there and then just go for it. Just continue to punch just as fast, as hard as he could. Leon was clearly very, very hurt, and it would have been very unlikely Leon probably would have landed a knockout punch back on Nate. He'd already taken so many hard punches, and then he could have just flurried really hard, and he probably would have landed a couple more and put Leon out and won the fight. I think he'll look back at the video and be upset that he didn't do that. But that being said, it was still crazy exciting. It was awesome to see. Everybody's standing up. We're all standing up out of our couch or off our couch and wherever you're sitting, and just expecting that he's going to get the fight finished, and it's going to be like down to the last like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, but it didn't happen. But again, Nate, his legend grew. his fans, you know, I mean, he gets off the stool in between the round, and the place goes crazy. He gets a standing ovation. I mean, the guy is he's just got star power. He's got the it factor. And I will say hats off to Leon. He fought a great fight up until the end. He fought a fantastic fight. He showed how technical and how good he really is, because Nate is good. You know, people want to say Nate's old and Nate's had a bunch of losses and Nate's, you know, not a formidable opponent. But let me tell you, he really is. Nate's had tough fights and he's beat great fighters. I mean, he's beat Conor McGregor. He's beat a lot of guys. I could go on for days. I mean, he's a great fighter. So it was still a very good test for Leon. And Leon passed with flying colors by the composure, by not letting these unvariables like the antics and the games get to him and get him off his game. He was very sharp. He was very fast. I was very, very, very impressed. The big question is going to be, because he did get almost knocked out by Nate Diaz at the end of that fight and looked really bad, and the fight was almost ended. And I think anyone can argue that that fight could have been over for Leon Edwards. I mean, it literally could have been over. If Nate had a different strategy once that first punch landed and went for broke and just did nothing but just punch, we call it punches and bunches, but just flurried until Leon went down, I think it would have been over. So where he goes from here is the question. He's a great fighter. He's got great skills. He's very technical. He showed great composure, like I just said. But what's going to happen now when he's trying to get a title shot, considering he just almost got knocked out by Nate Diaz? You know, you get a guy like Colby, maybe Usman as well. They're not going to let that slide. You know, they're not going to sit there and say, oh, he's a good opponent, I'll fight him. They're going to say, dude, you just almost got knocked out by Nate Diaz. You need to go fight some more people. So I think he set himself back in that last round, which is unfortunate because he had a great fight until then and he just got caught. Many times you get caught like that and it's over. You lose, right? I mean, that punch alone would have been over. And he wouldn't have had a chance, and he would have taken a big L against a guy who's unranked. So, I mean, he didn't do as bad as what could have happened. I mean, he ended up winning the fight either way, but it definitely hurt him, I think. And I'll be interested to see what's going to happen from here and where he goes and how they assess that last round and where he's going to be. And I'd like to see how he's going to take it as well. But anyway, great fight by Leon Edwards. He won the fight fair and square. He won every round except the last round. And hats off to Nate Diaz for just being a tough, bad motherfucker who just never disappoints. There's only one Nate Diaz in the world. He's one of a kind, and he is just fucking awesome. I'll always watch a Nate Diaz fight, no matter who he's fighting. So I was just very impressed with the fight, very happy. And it was just one more absolutely amazing, exciting fight for the card.